program. We're getting used to welcoming in Ryan Bauer from RotoGrinders.com. Still earning his way. He has not earned an opening introduction yet, but he's gaining on that for 2016 if he can come back and get it done. Ryan Bauer, RotoGrinders.com with the Bauer Power Plays. What's up, Ryan? How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing well. Maurice, let's quickly recap some of the guys he gave us last week. So hits and misses, but hey, we don't expect you to go 100%. One guy, you said to fade Thomas Rawls. I don't think you expected an ankle injury necessarily, but we'll give you credit anyway because Rawls was not a great play last week. You said Lamar Miller had the tourney upside. I know you're very happy about that performance on Monday Night Football, I would imagine.
Oh, really happy. I don't know. I don't understand why he didn't get the ball in the second half at all.
Yeah, well, I think he tweaked his ankle, too, in that one, but he had a couple of touchdowns, so I think he did you just fine as far as that goes. You like Tyrod Taylor, and Taylor had 268 and a touchdown, 53 on the ground, very solid there. You like Blake Bortles. Blake was outstanding fantasy-wise. You like Roethlisberger. Not so much against Cincinnati last week, but 2 out of 3 on that. You had Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns. Robinson only caught one, but he caught it in the end zone. Hurns was a big play for you. A.J. Green, Brandon Marshall, Golden Tate, all getting it done. So overall, very good week. Many more hits than misses. Maurice, where do you want to start for Week 15?
Let's start at the top, man. This is go top to bottom. We're going to start at the quarterbacks. Too wrong.
All right, well.
Tell me about it.
My favorite quarterback this week is Carson Palmer. He's averaging over 300 yards this year, 2 touchdowns a game. I mean, he finally has his full complement of healthy wide receivers, and he's playing the Eagles, who are giving up the second most fantasy points to opposing QBs this season. And Vegas has a super high total of 50 points, and I think Carson Palmer is the QB to target this week.
Okay. What about a QB you're avoiding this week that maybe some other people are on?
Ooh, a QB I'm avoiding. I'll probably avoid, actually, Cam Newton this week. I know it's crazy. I just don't have a great feeling about that game. It's going to be cold. It's on the road. This team is just rolling. It just seems kind of like a pullback fade from them. And I think at that price point, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have much, much, much better matchups. You want to spend up over $9,000, then I think you go Brady or Rodgers. So the QB I'm going to avoid this weekend is actually the red-hot Cam Newton.
And look, we want to point out for people, in a season-long league, you're likely rolling with Cam Newton if he's your guy. But we're talking DFS here, and that's why we factor in the prices on these guys. Ryan, this week you've got some interesting guys. Maurice and I were talking about A.J. McCarron and T.J. Yates. Any love for some of these backup quarterbacks getting a shot to play this week?
Okay, so out of those two, I'm not in love with either of them. I'd probably have to go Yates over McCarron. I mean, I know McCarron came in and played well last week, but Pittsburgh gives up a ton of yards to quarterbacks and a ton of touchdowns. They haven't been good at all this year. If you kind of want to go cheap quarterback, under 7,000 on FanDuel, right around the 5,000 mark on DraftKings, I'm actually going to go target the Steelers again, go with Brock Osweiler. Pittsburgh has given 8 touchdowns in the last 3 games and over 300 yards to opposing quarterbacks in the last 3 games. They've really, really struggled passing, but they've been very, very good against the run.
All right, Brock Osweiler it is. Maurice, you want to go running backs next?
Yes.
Let's do it. Who you got at running back that you're keying on?
So my upper echelon play this week, since we saved a couple dollars at quarterback, is Adrian Peterson. I mean, he feasts on the Chicago Bears. He rushed for 100 yards, 5 straight. The Vikings are a run-first team. Adrian Peterson, he has 9 touchdowns on the year. I want to say that Teddy Bridgewater maybe has 13, so they really, really, really focus on the run. Another running back I love this week is D'Angelo Williams. I mean, he's on the BPP every week. He gives us great games, and he's the lead back on probably the most explosive offense in the league. I look him to be more involved in the passing game this week as well, so that's even better with DraftKings and FanDuel being PPR. And the last 3 weeks, he's had over 17 fantasy points in every game.
Wow, the Denver defense not scaring you off from any of the Steelers this week?
No, they definitely scared me off on the Steelers wide receivers. But, you can run them a little bit. And, like I said, I think D'Angelo Williams is going to be more involved even in the passing. We're going to have to get rid of that ball quick, see some screens. And every time he catches the ball, it's either a half point or a full point, regardless of, the yardage he gets.
All right, let's move along then to wide receivers. You mentioned, I assume you're not playing Antonio Brown or Martavis Bryant then this week. Who do you like at wide receiver?
So my favorite wide receiver for the upper echelon guys is actually Julio Jones. I know you guys are all sick of the Falcons. Matt Ryan hurt us 2 weeks ago. And I just hate seeing all that wasted, offensive potential. But this game could easily be a shootout. He's one of the best matchups. And he's actually his price has decreased to, I think he's the fifth most expensive wide receiver on FanDuel, and he still has double-digit games point-wise. In 8 of his last 9, he's still getting over 10 targets a game. So I really think Julio Jones is a good play this week.
Okay, give us somebody a little bit cheaper that we could slip in there and pair up with him.
Okay, speaking to, I like Sammy Watkins this week. He's finally getting the volume we expect for number one wideout. He's got 16-plus fantasy points in 3 straight weeks, and he's going against the Washington secondary. And I like the cheap stack of him and Tyrod Taylor this week. Tyrod is actually my tournament quarterback of the week. He provides a great floor. He's averaging 19 points a game on the road with 33 rushing yards per game, and he finally has that number one wideout in Sammy Watkins. So I like the Tyrod Taylor Sammy Watkins stack this week. And another wide receiver is we'll go Allen Robinson. Last week we kind of faded him a little bit. We're more on Hearns, but we're back on the Robinson bandwagon. Don't panic because Trufant. He's been great cover. He really sticks to one side of the field and hardly moves. So this should make Robinson open plenty of times throughout the game. And I think him and Blake will be looking to get back that connection with only him having 4 targets and 1 reception last week. And, losing Yeldon, I think they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more.
Well, what do you think about Denard Robinson? I mean, a lot of people have been excited about him and picked him up. What do you think about him?
So Denard Robinson was actually my favorite pickup of the week of all the new running backs, guys getting hurt. The Jaguars really loved this guy. They were trying to install him as a goal line back, even when Yeldon was healthy. So, and last week when Yeldon went down with injury, Shoelace gave us 14 carries for 75 yards in the TD. And factor in the fact that, the Falcons are giving up the most rushing touchdowns in the league this year. And he's great at catching the ball. He can really, and that helps us great with the PPR format.
I'm with you. I like Denard a bunch this week as well. All right, let's turn to tight end. Travis Kelce can't catch a cold these days. Even though his price is falling on FanDuel, I'm staying away from him. Where should I be spending my money at the tight end position?
We're going to go Antonio Gates, a name that we've been hearing for the last 10 years. He'll go down as probably number 1 or 2 tight end of all time. He's back-to-back games with 6 receptions. He seems to be getting his swagger back. With Malcolm Floyd being back, that deep threat, it's really opening up the middle of the field. And the Chargers cannot run the ball. I think Melvin Gordon might be one of the biggest disappointments in fantasy this year, especially with being healthy throughout the year. So you can't run it. And you got your deep threat back that opens up the middle of the field, and no one really has better hands than Antonio Gates.
Is it worth it to pay for Gronk?
Well, Gronk actually missed practice today. I don't think a lot of people know. It's just a personal reason, so I don't think it was an injury. But then Tom Brady popped up today, illness. Now, I don't think any of them will miss a game. So if you play Brady at quarterback, you stack him with Gronk. But if you're not going to go Brady at quarterback, I think you use one of these cheaper tight ends and you spend up the week. And one of the spots you can spend up is at Seattle Seahawks at home. They're at home. They're against Manziel. The price is high, but they're going to be super high owned. It's one of those defenses that potentially has 20 points in them this week with a return touchdown or just, one of those 8 or 9 sacks per game type of games against Manziel. Manziel runs around like crazy, and Seattle kind of feasts on the chaos. They struggle more against guys that sit in the pocket and are accurate, and that's the complete opposite of what Manziel is. So I think you can spend up on the defenses if you don't go up to Gronk this week.
All right, there you go. Spend up on the Seattle D this week. Ryan Bauer, we've got from rotogrinders.com. Maurice, we put out a request for people if they wanted to send in a few DFS questions via Twitter at Sirius XM Fantasy. Let's find out what we received. Phil, if you could pass along, what's the question? First question we got for Ryan.
All right, this comes from Chris. The first thing is just a general strategy in building your lineups. He loves that Arizona stack this week. He wants to know, is it okay to play David Johnson along with a wide receiver on the Arizona Cardinals?
So typically typically, if you're going to go quarterback, wide receiver, you normally don't throw in the running back as well. But David Johnson is that lead back. He could very easily get a receiving touchdown from Carson Palmer. And, yes, I actually do think it's okay because Carson Palmer is a little bit expensive, but David Johnson's extremely cheap. And my favorite wide receiver of the bunch, who's actually my value play this week on the power plays, is Michael Floyd. So, yes, I actually do think you can. It's the Vegas. I think it's the second highest total of the week. So, yeah, I'll be in my games. I personally will be playing those three in some games.
So you play Palmer, Johnson, and Floyd. How do you determine which Arizona receiver you like in a given week?
It's really tough. Larry Fitzgerald was phenomenal for 6-7 weeks of the beginning of the season. The guy that I think 2 30-point games, super reliable, and he's still extremely reliable. But Michael Floyd is awesome. I remember having a conversation with Reese in week 2 or 3. We were one night on the Xbox, and I said, "Hey, Reese, you've done my research. Go pick up Michael Floyd in some league. This guy tore it up last year with Carson Palmer. He's coming back off injury." So I really like targeting Malcolm Floyd, and in his last 7 games, he's only come into 13 fantasy points once, and he has a knack to make the big play as we saw. And he's actually the cheapest of them all, and I think he has the highest ceiling of all three of them, and he's the cheapest, including John Brown.
Maurice, you like that? Who would you play, Maurice, if you could play one of those wide receivers?
Well, I'm a Floyd guy, and it's probably partly because we had that talk that night on Xbox. But Floyd's a bigger target. He can run all the routes. He's still a deep threat as well. I think he's the guy you want to go to because if you look to him, they like to throw Brown on post and overs, but they throw Floyd everything from go routes, slants, outs, the whole nine. And then on top of that, I mean, he's a bigger, younger version of Larry Fitzgerald, and I think that's what excites him about him.
All right, Phil, let's get another one in from Twitter at Sirius XM Fantasy. What's next?
All right, from Jason. He wants to know how much exposure are you going to have for Charkandrick West this week if Spencer Ware is active?
Oh, wow. So you actually made a note of that. Spencer Ware practiced today, which makes me really upset. I really wanted to put West in a bunch of my lineups this week. If Ware suits up and is active, I'm still going to have some lineups with West in there, but it won't be my cash line. Because typically in your cash games, that's when you spend the $10, $25 entry fees. Your double ups and things like that. Your tournament entries are only $1 to $2, so you're not risking as much, on the upside. But yeah, I'd probably say I'd have them in maybe 10% of my lineups. If you make 10 lineups, I'd have them in maybe 1 or 2, and those would be strictly tournament plays only.
Tournament plays.
If Ware doesn't suit up, I had Charkandrick West in a bunch. I'd probably put him in 4 out of the 10.
Gotcha. Okay, and then, Bill, one more, and we'll wrap it up. What do you got?
All right, just another general strategy. Well, not even strategy, but would you target Carolina or Seattle running backs this week?
Personally, no. It's a revolving door. It's like Fozzie Whitaker and Artis Payne are going to get the work between the 20s. But then it gets to the goal line. Here comes big man Tolbert, and Cam Newton can run as well. So then you're kind of just relying on yardage. And, that's not something that I really like. I'm not a big running back by committee guy. As you see, most of my plays are really trying to hone on the guys are going to get 15 to 20 carries every single week. And if before the game goes into it, he's not getting the goal line carries, I just don't see the upside in that.
All right, I'm with you. I'm trying to avoid those. I think a lot of people are, and unless you're just trying to differentiate yourself, but I'd have to be playing a lot of lineups to slip in one of those guys.
Exactly, and I don't even think Bryce Brown is available on the daily sites. I'm pretty sure he's not available on.
Is he right? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Yeah, Bryce Brown is definitely not on FanDuel, so I don't even think that's even an option. So that kind of makes it easier there. And to answer the next question, I wouldn't touch Fred Jackson. I mean, Rawls got hurt last week, and he only had 8 touches after that. So I'm not touching any Seattle guy.
Ryan, we got to wrap up, but we appreciate it. We'll track your picks once again for Week 15 on Twitter at Bauer Power Plays, Bauer for Bauer Power Plays. And you can check out his weekly blog at rotogrinders.com. And I have a feeling we'll be talking to you again soon. Thank you, man. Have a great Week 15.
Hey, thanks, guys. And to check out the rest of my plays, as he said, the blog as well. Thanks.